Fourth Time Around is my favorite Bob Dylan song on Blonde on Blonde. Start it.
What?
Just keep going.
I'm keeping it.
Oh, you're going? This is Film Q. I'm Jeffy Pedinera.
And I'm Jessica Guzman. Sticking with
Worst beginnings.
no, I was gonna go with Bob Dylan. It's
Go on.
it's the 50th year anniversary for Highway 61.
Oh, is it? It's
Right
like
now.
my favorite album. I don't even know that.
Yeah, today.
I know
saw
it's
it
65. I didn't know it came out.
August 30th.
Yeah, people.
Now you know what day we record.
Yeah. Go listen to Highway 61 Revisited because that is the greatest album of all time.
I have to clean later. I'm probably gonna listen to it because it makes sense.
Hell yeah. Fucking Desolation Row gave me a genuine emotional moment. So good. Anyway, I can't segue out of that. So we'll just get straight into the amendments from last week. I don't know. I don't think Andres has any, do you?
I don't even remember what because we were gonna talk about what our rap albums were our favorite ones. I don't remember what mine were, so go for it.
All right, cool. I just wanted to amend mine because I didn't feel good forgetting this one once I remembered it. So now my number one is still My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but my number two is The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
Right.
which is, it's almost hard to call it a rap album because it encompasses so much. I guess hip hop album is more appropriate, even though, you know, they're pretty much interchangeable terms, but I just feel it captures the more universality of that album. And third is still Illmatic by Nas. I considered
William's not gonna be upset that you got rid of Doom.
I love Doom, but that Lauryn Hill album is just perfection.
I think he'll manage.
Yeah, he'll be okay. Isn't he coming back next week?
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. Yeah, well, updates on that later. But
Yeah.
for now, we'll talk Cop Car, smaller movie to end the summer. What did you think?
I really liked it. I just liked the simplistic style that it had, and some of the sweetness that was kind of surrounding these two little kids that ran away from home.
Yeah, at first, for the first like 20 minutes, I thought it was going to be a little too sweet.
Right.
Because, again, I didn't know anything going into this movie, like what it was. I just had the basic premise that two kids find a cop car, take it. So I thought it was just going to be that, essentially, for an hour and a half, which I was worried was going to be stretched thin
Super
real
thin.
quick.
But it works.
No, it works.
They add to it.
They introduce the bodies, and then it becomes essentially a modern Stand By Me.
Yeah. See, I wasn't sure. I didn't know you didn't. Like, I had heard a few people talking about it, and they kind of just like, I guess because I saw the trailer after we saw the movie, and I noticed in the trailer they do show the bodies.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people who are talked about the movie talked about the bodies and how how it's in the trunk.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew that was going to be happening.
Yeah, whereas I didn't know anything, and so when the bodies came out, it introduced a nice bit of darkness into the world, because up to then, it was like, I think it was very well observed kid stuff, because they sound like children, they play like children, they get scared like children do, and I thought it was really well observed, but it was a little too sweet for how long it went on.
Mm-hmm.
And so once Kevin Bacon shows up and he starts pulling out these bodies from his trunk, then suddenly what I feel is a theme starts to take over. I wouldn't say the film really hits on that theme too hard or really has anything much more to say about it. To be clear, I feel like the film is sort of exploring it's like any coming of age film, the nexus between the wide-eyed innocence of youth,
Right.
and then the encroaching darkness of adulthood, right?
Super darkness.
Yeah, it gets a little weirdly uber dark near the end with the kid getting shot. Spoilers, but you know,
They should
if
know.
you listen to the show,
They should know.
yeah.
I kind of expected one of the kids to get hurt. It was too convenient if they didn't. They're in the sitting
They have a gun
in the middle of a gunfight.
It's
nothing.
Chekhov's gun, right?
Yeah.
It's this Chekhov's kid. You have a kid with a gun, he's gonna get shot.
There was a line early on when they're like trying to decide if they should get in the cop car and what happens if they'll go, and when one of the kids, I think it was Harrison, which was
The wimpier kid.
yeah, the one who was a little more innocent, and he's like, "Well,
I like your word is innocent, mine is wimpy.
and he's like, what will we do?" And Travis is just like, "Well, just tell them we're cops."
Oh yeah,
And he's like,
that's where I was like a little. This is getting a little
Yeah.
too sugary.
and he's like, "Okay," and then he gets into the seat like it's just gonna, like that's gonna work.
Like I feel like no kid, even at 10 years old, would genuinely believe that would work.
Yeah. Same thing later on when they have the gun and they're like, "Why isn't it working?" And I'm like in my head screaming. I was like, "What age do you know that there are safeties?"
Yeah,
on
I mean,
guns?
especially in the Call of Duty age, right? Which this film clearly doesn't take place in the past, right? I'm pretty sure it's the present. So I'm sure these kids have played some Call of Duty.
Probably, but
Turn
I don't think there's
safety.
no safety.
No, but I mean, you get
Oh,
a
God.
general sense of guns and
How shitty would that be if you're playing Call of Duty and you're about to
Mhm,
shoot someone?
safety's
You're
on.
like, crap! I didn't
that.
take
That
the
would be a
safety
good
off."
idea, actually. Having
That would be
to
interesting.
always turn on the safety.
Activision, listen.
Yeah, it would almost get into a whole like a
More
realism.
realism?
Yeah, like a realism that touches into you have to physically want to commit this murder because you have to switch off the safety. You
Call
have
of
to
Duty
shoot.
is not saying
I know.
anything close. To
But
that.
I mean, like
The
another
closest
game
thing you can do,
Spec
yeah,
Ops: The Line.
yeah, maybe like a survival horror, like give me Resident Evil to do that. I can
Oh,
see
that
I
would
can
be
see
really
it
good.
happening.
Yeah, survival horror where you have to turn the safety on every time. Oh, off every time. That'd be really good. Let's make a game. You programmed for a bit.
I have not
can make-
coded in way too long, and I'm gonna keep it that way.
God, I would love to make a game. Anyway, Cop Car. I wrote here that you can really feel a lot of the influences
Yeah.
on this movie. Like we mentioned Stand By Me, where it's very much again, coming of age story about kids and revolving around a dead body in some form. And although
It's not
turns
really
out
a dead body.
yeah, we think it's a dead body for most of it, but then he wakes up. I also Duel in the final chase scene.
I
feel
haven't seen Duel, but
like I've seen enough of Duel to understand the language being used
where have you seen enough of Duel?
on TV.
I've never
Growing up.
seen it on TV.
Well, I'm growing up. I've seen it, and I've seen references to it too. I think Simpsons did references. I think I could be wrong. Anyway,
I'm not surprised.
yeah,
They do everything.
Yeah,
I
and
don't-
Reservoir Dogs. Strangely enough, and like just the imagery of the kid in the
Well,
back seat
I'm
with
not-
him clutching his belly.
I'm not entirely surprised because I think there's a few trunk shots, and to me, every single time I see a trunk shot, I just think Tarantino.
Yeah. Cannon was talking about Reservoir Dogs recently, and Tarantino is one of probably the most influential director to come out of the recent couple of decades. You know, it's been 3 decades now. Almost, well, 90s, 2000s, now we're in the 2010s. It's 3
Well,
decades.
But how does that work?
Because he started in the early 90s.
What was his first movie?
92.
I was born in '93. How's that 3 decades? Just saying.
I'm saying it's. Oh my God, we're gonna have this. It's almost 3 decades.
Okay, almost. Okay, it's a
It's
little over.
25.
It's 23.
Okay, I'm counting the
closer to
90s as a decade. I'm counting the 2000s as a decade. I'm talking in general, not in literal math.
All right, let's just add an extra 8 years here and there. Like, it's nothing big
It's not 8
deal.
years.
It's 7.
It's 5. I'm counting the 90s. I'm not counting the year he started. The 90s is a decade in itself.
Whatever.
The 90s start in 1990.
Either way, I think it's kind of funny. He's super influential, even though.
This kind of gets at my whole feelings on Cop Car, that you can talk about a lot of other things that aren't Cop Car. Not that it's bad or anything. It's good. I liked it.
But he's also like one of those directors who a lot of stuff he does, he kind of not rips off, but he plays homage to a bunch of older films.
I know you've seen his other movie Clown, but I haven't. So elucidate that.
From what I remember reading, Clown was a trailer that he put out, and it was the idea that somebody would put on the costume and would turn into a literal clown, but the clown was from like a demon, I think from the Nordic area or something like that. But on the trailer, he had put saying that it was going to be produced by Eli Roth. He had never spoken to Eli, and once he heard about it, he's like, "That takes balls. I got to produce this thing," and then they made it. So that came out, I think, last year, and it was really well done. There was a lot of cool stuff that I liked about it. It was pretty scary. There was a lot of good proper jump scares, not false ones that worked for it. Great imagery, a lot of spewing blood.
Would you like more cop car or clown?
I think cop car.
Cop car, really?
Yeah, clown felt like it. Not to take it away from it, but like a really good B horror film, but which I think is what it was trying to be. But it just cop car feels stronger as a film, and I think that's partially because of like his experience on working on that. He also, I don't know which segment, but he also did a part on the that RoboCop remake that everybody was.
I've only seen one segment, and it was
everybody
hilarious.
knows that segment.
It was great. Shooting the dicks.
Oh yeah, I've seen that like 4 times. Yeah. We watched it at work once.
Of course.
I wish it was on the big screen though.
I don't see much of a, I guess, personality in his direction.
Right.
Like kind of which is good. I mean, you could be a chameleon, that's fine. But what I did notice is that he has a really good ear. Like, not only the sound design, which these are some of the loudest guns I've heard in a movie in a while, like since Heat. But also just the score I loved it. It's, even though it's just, you might chalk it up to generic rock guitar, it worked for me. And I'm the kind of guy who hates generic rock guitar. But I don't know, it had a nice energy to it. It kind of reminded me of the soundtrack to sort of A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, because that has some heavy guitar in it.
Oh yeah. Which that reminds me to the soundtrack for Only Lovers Left Alive.
Oh yeah, that's more of a no, you're right. I just haven't
a mix.
I for some reason, Only Lovers Left Alive is kind of disappearing from my memory.
I'll play the soundtrack for you after.
It's
great.
So I wanted to ask you a question. What do you see in this film that points to what Jon Watts can do with Spider-Man?
Oh, his direction with the kids.
Yeah, that's the number one thing I have.
I think so.
Because I mean, Marvel, I think they made it clear that their movies are producer led.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and a lot of the action sequences, that's previs, that's kind of already
I think that's kind of funny, because that's where I wanted to jump to next, but I was going to bring on about the fact how you said you felt like Cop Car had no, you didn't feel his personality on the film.
It's perfect for Marvel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your few directors like
James Gunn,
James Gunn, who kind of like takes charge, and you can see their stuff. Whedon is also another one, but that's kind of different because it's Joss fucking
his
Whedon.
Stuff is more character stuff. You feel him in the dialogue and the script, not so much in his visual, because he's very much a TV director, right?
Yeah. And you can tell that with Avengers. I like the first Avengers, but I didn't think it was that visually appealing.
I mean, it has cool moments, but again, some of that stuff is probably previs, right?
Exactly.
Nothing that Joss brought.
I mean, let's be real. Most of the cool moments is that one take with everybody,
which he almost cut out too, right?
Which is stupid.
Yeah.
But that's why I think I think he'll do good in the MCU. Kind of opposite to the now confirmed Colin Trevorrow, who's going to be doing Episode 9, which I've pretty much, from what I've heard, is the reason why he got the job is because of how he was able to handle his notes and stuff like that.
Oh God.
Well, I mean, it's also the fact that Jurassic World made a shit ton of money, but it's but the fact that he was able to kind of take these notes and work within the industry with the producers and such.
Yeah.
That, I guess, kind of put him a little bit higher, because he already worked with Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy, I believe, for it. So it's like already one good foot in the door.
Well, I'll be mentioning Jurassic World a little later on. But yeah, no, his work with the children will be perfect for the younger Peter Parker they're going for.
Yeah, I was kind of almost hoping a little bit into the movie that was like, I would have liked to wish one of these kids would have been swapped out for Tom Holland just to see what he would have been able to do with him a little bit earlier, because we want everything now.
Yeah. How old were the kids? Fuck, what, they're like 10 in this movie?
10,
so they'd be like 13.
Yeah.
Which isn't quite high school age, but it's almost there.
No, what? I don't remember how old Holland is, but he's about a little bit about going into high school age.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing a younger Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I also noticed, though, he does a good job of balancing tone, because this movie jumps tones a lot. Like, it goes from comedy to adventure to action and to suspense, but it never really loses the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised just because the movie gets really dark at times, and then it'll follow it up with a joke. So I was almost thinking it was going to be a black comedy, but it never really does. That's I guess my main problem with the movie is that it never coalesces into something greater than the sum of its parts. So it has enjoyable moments, and it's good. It's well made. I don't know. It's not something I'll be coming back to, I guess.
I thought it was
which isn't a criticism of John Watts, because I think with a good budget and maybe some time, he could make a great Spider-Man movie.
He wrote this with, I think his name was Christopher Ford, and I like the script that they put out. The other thing is, I know he's not in charge of the script for Spider-Man, which scares me a little, because it's I don't remember who it is, but I know they just finished like writing and directing the latest like Vacation reboot.
Oh yeah.
I think they wrote Horror Bosses 2. I can't really remember. I know
it's weird. They're getting 2 comedy writers.
Yeah, it's one
bad comedy writers.
It's one of the kids from Freaks and Geeks.
Who's writing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one? Is it the nerdy kid, the brother?
I'm just
Linda Cardellini.
Check it up real quick.
While you're looking up, I'm gonna gush about Linda Cardellini, who is probably the most beautiful.
John
woman.
Francis Daly.
Don't cut off me, fucking gushing about Linda Cardellini.
Who's now in the MCU, right?
Oh yeah. Oh god, I want to see more of her.
It was Sam Weir. I don't know how to say his last name.
Oh damn, is he the brother? I think he's the brother. Show me the picture.
Well, I have like a modern day picture up, but
I'm sure I recognize his face. I'll still know who it is.
This
Yeah, the nerdy little brother.
Yeah.
Have you never seen Freaks and Geeks?
I've not seen Freaks.
Oh, no wonder, because I'm like, you would have known if I. Okay, watch Freaks and Geeks. It's so
too
good.
much stuff to watch.
It's short. It's like 15 episodes.
That's too much.
Too much.
But yeah, so he's writing it. He's writing it with his working partner. But I don't know. I'm kind of nervous with the scripts. I know they wanted to go for more of a. There's a lot of reports coming out saying that they wanted to go for a John Hughes sort of feel for high school, which I think could work.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I do hope they make it a high school drama kind of thing, where he just happens to be Spider-Man. And from what I've seen of what they've been teasing about the costume, I'm excited for that, because it looks like it's gonna be really different, which is what we need. Which ultimately, that's what the Spider-Man movie has to be, is really different. So it separates itself from the 5 other Spider-Man movies we got this decade.
Oh my god, that's right. That is way too many Spider-Man movies. And
how many? Not as much as we have X-Men movies, but holy crap.
Well, I mean, at least with the X-Men, they
have one.
They had
movie.
like a soft reboot.
Yeah.
So as opposed to like 2 very different franchises.
Wait, Amazing Spider-Man was not a soft reboot.
No, I'm talking about X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Because like, you know, with like Days of Future Past, they're like, oh, let's just fix a little stuff.
Yeah.
AKA, let's delete the shit out of X3.
Basically, nothing mattered that you just watched. Wolverine was one of the best movies of the X-Men thing. And
it was.
It didn't matter.
I was kind of a bit upset because I was just like, but I like that one.
Yeah.
Let's keep Origins out of here, but bring Wolverine back.
Yeah. That's a really good movie.
Which is super confusing because then they're gonna be bringing, from what I understand, there's gonna be one more Wolverine film, but they're still gonna call it Wolverine 3, or like there's gonna be a subtitle, I think, but it's still gonna be technically the third in their Wolverine trilogy. And I'm like, but the other one definitely doesn't exist.
Wolverine
one
again.
kind of exists, so wouldn't it just be the Wolverine again?
Yeah, the Wolverine again. That's what we'll call it. So what's your final verdict on Cop Car, Andres?
I think it's like I said before, because it's sweet. It's very easy to sit down and enjoy what you're watching. I'm not gonna. It's weird. I'm gonna say this, but I feel like it'd be a good, nice family film.
That is a weird thing to say.
I don't know. I think I've watched a lot of like. I remember growing up seeing like Goodfellas like when I was like 12. So with my family.
That explains it.
Yeah. That's why my taste is like a little strange.
It reminds me, my parents, we've always watched movies, right? And we've always been into movies. And we regard them as art and stuff. So it was funny when my dad, one time I was a little kid, we were watching, I think it was Frida.
Okay.
And there's a scene where she's like naked and they're having sex. And he turns to me, he's like, remember, this is art.
I think it was I think there's a Dr. Dre film called Car Wash. You ever heard of it?
No.
My dad heard of it. I had watched it with him, and in it there's like this dream sequence where these women wash the cars with their shirts off, and I was like 8.
Googling now.
And I was like 8, and I like turned to my dad, and I was just like, because usually if I was watching a movie like that with my parents, they would usually kind of send me out of the room at that age. So I asked my dad, I was like, should I leave? And he's like, it's fine, it's a dream sequence. I'm like, oh, well, if that's the case, it's fine, apparently.
Just for the record, it's called The Wash.
Oh, The Wash.
Yeah, right. And it has a 4.5 rating on IMDb. So
that high?
Yeah. It's all for the dream sequence.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Snoop Dogg is in it. Weird.
I wasn't sure if it was Snoop. I knew it was Dre, though.
Yeah, Dr. Dre. Anyway, Cop Car. Maybe watch it if you feel
That's why I said I think it'd be it's like I saw that way too young, so like screw it.
I do feel like maybe like even despite the violence and stuff, 10-year-olds should go see this movie because I think it will speak
I'm
to
not
them.
talking about like taking your 5-year-old to go watch it, but yeah, like 11.
Yeah, but I mean,
year-olds with the parents.
I wouldn't say necessarily with the parents. I'd say almost sneak in with your buddies. And I know this is probably like some older conservative families would be like, "What is he saying? We're not actually listening to your show."
People sneak into theaters.
Yeah, I mean,
I know about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say like group of 10-year-olds. If you're for some reason listening to this, sneak into this movie, watch it. I think it'll speak to you in some way, and you can find it cool in other ways.
I think it's because it's like such a small film. It's probably on VOD
already.
Which means it's probably online.
Do it up, man. Let's talk about the summer now, because I think with Cop Car, even though it's a smaller film, because it's a smaller film, it shows that we're kind of transitioning away from the huge mega blockbusters of the year.
There's a few left, but it's everything else.
Which
pretty
ones?
Much. I'm just basing it on like
your sense of it.
Well, I think Crimson Peak is going to be something big.
That's November though.
That's October.
Yeah, that's just a horror movie. I wouldn't consider that a.
There's a
big blockbuster.
It's not big blockbuster,
but you know the idea of a big summer blockbuster. That's done.
Yeah, the only thing that's really left blockbuster wise are probably like Mockingjay Part 2.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
When's
Star Wars.
Oh yeah, this December. That
Mockingjay comes out November 20th.
Yeah, no, those are too late.
And I really wouldn't consider Hateful Eight.
No.
A blockbuster.
Quentin Tarantino is what's so great about him is that he makes such big, I would say mainstream movies that are still niche.
Yeah.
Yeah. So But yeah, anyway, what would be your final verdict on the summer 2015, which was according to Birth Movies Death, formerly Badass Digest, was going to be the summer of death, but then they pushed back Batman versus Superman, and even though it was still a crowded summer, it was
super crowded. There was so many things to watch.
Yeah,
so like
we didn't watch all of it. At least I didn't.
There's still like 3 movies I think I still need to watch, but most of it's like the latter, more independent stuff like Mistress America and stuff like that I haven't got a chance to go see.
I don't really talk about that much, or at least I don't have many notes on the smaller movies. I do a little bit, but I'm talking the big releases.
Well, I have some smaller movies on my best of.
No, so do I. But I'm gonna talk about that. Anyway, your verdict is good summer, bad summer.
I want to say good. There's a lot of stuff that I think is gonna last with me for the next few years, to say at least. And there are a few films that unfortunately are probably gonna make my blood boil for the next few years as well. But with that being said,
I think I know what's in your bottom now. Okay, go on.
There are a few movies that were like really big for me, and so I'm like, there's gonna be stuff that I'm gonna want to keep revisiting, and so that's why I think it was that outweighs the bad.
It's funny because I fall on the bad side. I think it was a bad summer, especially following. I can't remember. Last summer I had Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Which, last summer I just feel was so much greater, and the summer before that 2013. I don't remember that one being so great, but 2012.
2012 was Avengers and Dark Knight Rises
and Looper.
Yeah.
Great. I think that was like
Looper was late though.
Yeah, I think it was almost September.
I think it was no, because it premiered at TIFF. So I think it came out like late September or early October.
Crap. Okay, maybe not Looper then. But anyway, Looper was that year, and that was a good. But I remember that being a really good summer. Moonrise Kingdom, that came out that year because I remember seeing that.
The way I remember thinking about it was I felt like 2012 was the year for the great blockbusters, but 2013 was a year for good
smaller films,
independent films.
Yeah,
there was a lot of good stuff
that came out. Her, Inside Llewyn Davis.
I still think about Her like probably on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I watched it recently. Oh, it's so good. My parents even loved it, and I remember my mom was.
My parents were trying to talk shit before I put the movie on for them, and they're like, "Well, why are we gonna watch this movie about a guy like falling in love?"
Exactly. My parents did that too.
With this computer, and then they watch it, and they're just like, "Well, it's not like falling in love with a computer; it's like falling in love with a friend you never see." And I was just like, "I don't know why you don't like understand when I was telling you this before. You don't listen."
That's exactly the same arc that I had. My mom saw the trailer and she's like, "That looks so stupid."
Spanish parents.
And then I was like, and then after we watched it, we had this really good discussion where I'm like, "Yeah, it's examining relationships by removing the physical form. So you see, it's about communication." And my mom was like, "Yes, communication is everything." I'm like, "See, Mom, I told you."
It's just a super sweet film, and there's that. There's the line. Okay, we're not. I don't know if it's fair because Her's old enough, so if you haven't seen it, you fucked up.
Yeah,
but
you fucked up.
There's the line when she leaves them and she like talks about like the space between the words and reading a book. Mm-hmm. I think like that line, that entire paragraph she says is just perfection.
Yeah.
When Her won the best original screenplay, I remember jumping from my couch and screaming.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is well deserved.
My favorite moment is when it cuts to black during Samantha and what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix's character. Shit.
Is it Teddy?
Is it Ted?
I don't know.
Anyway, when they have sex for the first time, like quote unquote. But that's the thing. It cuts to blacks because then it becomes something beyond the physical. It becomes a connection. Right?
And it's weird to say, but you just hear them.
Yeah, orgasming. Yeah. You can say it, Andres.
No, I was gonna say moaning.
It's not a dirty. Moaning. Moaning's even easier to say.
I don't know. I stopped for a second. I don't know why.
But yeah, no. You hear them both, and it becomes this moment where I have this theory where what really draws people to sex is that it's other than the pure physical joy of it, it's also the most connected you ever feel to another human being. And I think that's what we really strive towards, is feeling like we're not so alone in the world, right? And I mean that on an emotional level, not on a physical level. although your physical self is part of the reason, is because you can never inhabit someone else's body. But yeah, I feel like that is the closest it ever comes to it, and that moment speaks so strongly to that. Anyway, sidebar on her, because that movie's so perfect. Yeah, I thought the summer was bad just because there were only 3 movies I would call like all-timers. Which, okay, having one all-timer in any period of time
should be good.
Should be good. But I mean, for having 3 great movies in a fucking super crowded 12 weeks,
super crowded with superheroes, and
the ratio is just kind of lopsided, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it was super bad, like the worst summer ever. It was just, if I'm looking at it on a scale, the good 3 don't outweigh the bad 9. 20, yeah. Oh, damn, I'm counting just 9, but yeah.
Well, I mean, like, these are the ones we saw, where we averaged to go to theaters once a week. When you keep in mind that there are 3 other movies probably coming out at the same time, and we chose one of them, so we don't have to deal with the others. You know, exactly. Terminator.
I totally forgot about Terminator.
That was a thing. That was a thing that happened. I'm not gonna watch it.
No, I'm never gonna watch that. No, maybe, I don't know. If it comes with the new movie network and I have nothing else, I'll watch it.
I got asked to watch it the other day, and they're like, "We'll pay for your ticket." And I was just like, "I'm gonna stay home and do nothing."
Wow, that movie disappeared. I mean, I don't even. It was in the theater for like a week, and then I mean, this is the sense I got. Like,
it was
in the theater for a week, and it was
playing
gone
until like 2 weeks ago, a week or 2 ago.
Jesus Christ, poor Emilia Clarke. I do love her. I should clarify. The 3 movies I'm talking about.
Jai Courtney's fault.
Yeah, Jai Courtney. Fucking charisma vacuum. The 3 movies I'm talking about are Inside Out, Mad Max Fury Road, and Magic Mike XXL.
Yeah.
Those are your 3?
Well, those are my top 3.
Yeah, I mean, those are the greatest movies of the summer, probably the year so far. And who knows if they'll stay up there till the end of the year, but I think they might, in fact.
One of them staying at least.
Yeah, totally. I'm pretty sure Inside Out's gonna be my top movie of the year.
Yeah,
pretty confident that it says everything I want a movie to say, and it's like it feels everything I feel. Right?
I think I don't know about you, but to me, another part of that why I like it so much is because of what it tries to say, not just in general, but also to the kids that are going to watch it. Right, like
it's the most universal film I think we've made in a way.
I don't know. Magic Mike is pretty universal.
That movie's so good.
I want to see it again.
It probably has my favorite scene of the summer, which is what's his name? The gas station one where they're all high on whatever.
Big Dick Richie.
Yeah, Big Dick Richie. What a name. Big Dick Richie dances for the girl in the gas station, and it's to Backstreet Boys, and it's so funny. Sweet.
When he walks in, and he's like questioning it for a split second, and then Backstreet Boys starts playing,
and then he's like the certainty in his face,
and everybody else started cheering, and we were laughing, and there was probably clapping. I do not remember, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No, of course.
It was just like, it was the scene everybody waited for.
Definitely the best theater going experience I had. Probably you too. We went together. Held hands.
One of the best experiences. I'll go into one of my worst later on.
Oh yeah. I think I read about this. Yeah, it was so much fun. The crowd was predominantly women, and it was so good to see a movie catered to them, that cared about them.
I kind of touched on this a bit with Kanisha, who was on our episode for Magic Mike, who might come on one later in the year, was that this seems like a great year for feminist films.
Oh, yeah.
Or even if it's like not just specifically for it, but somebody tries to kind of like, unfortunately, slide it into and hide it in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean,
like even with Mad Max, when you had all those crappy people making posts about like, don't watch it, it's a feminist film, and all that garbage, which was stupid.
Yeah.
But
if you're one of those idiots, stop listening to our show.
we don't want your listening.
Yeah.
But between Mad Max, Magic Mike, we also had Spy.
Yeah.
There was a few others, but
Inside Out has a little girl as her as the protagonist. Joy and Sadness are both women.
There was another one, but I'm blanking at the moment.
Let me look at my list. I mean, Tangerine was not quite a summer movie. It came out in the summer here, and it's a very small film, but that's about transgender prostitutes in LA.
Right.
And so that's a huge step forward, I feel.
I would say, would you consider Ex Machina?
Yeah, that was totally feminist.
Pitch Perfect 2, Trainwreck.
I totally forgot about Pitch Perfect. Yeah, Trainwreck. Yeah, great summer for women, which is fantastic. Because what I think is great is that a lot of these films aren't like the stereotypical form of feminism where it's like, you know, burn your bra and all that stuff, which isn't the typical. That's bad. That's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say is that that's a lot of bad people's idea of what feminism is, but really it's just representation, right? Equal representation. So they're finally getting movies on a level that men are, quality movies too, and movies that star women are for women but are still universal in their appeal, aka Magic Mike, even though that is the most predominantly female geared film.
Yeah,
where it's still so much fun for anybody who goes to watch that movie,
i.e. us.
Yeah, God, I can't stop gushing about Magic Mike. That movie's perfect. It's so good. But yeah, I know I'm gushing, but I still didn't think the summer was very good. Just because a lot of the good films we saw, like Spy,
they just kind of they're
good, but they have major flaws that kind of inhibit them from being great, right? Like let me go through this list here. I have Spy, which was hilarious, but it was cinematically it was kind of dull. Yeah. Right? Because Paul Feig isn't a great visual director either. Like we mentioned Joss Whedon earlier, but I think Joss Whedon is still a step above Paul Feig.
That's fair to say.
Feige? I don't know how to pronounce his name.
No, I think Feige's
Kevin Feige. Yeah. Marvel. Avengers was a little too dense for an initial view. I feel like I've heard it gets better on multiple viewings.
I don't know. I saw it twice, and on the second time, it kind of went a little less for me.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. I just wasn't like whelmed in a way that even Ant-Man did for me, right? Ant-Man was a solid movie that I love, which could have saved the summer for me, but it just not
actually visually appealing.
Yeah, totally. That fucking, I'm still marveling. Oh God, did not intend that pun. At the trippy, what is it? The subatomic sequence.
Oh yeah,
so good. Let's see what else.
Saw that twice in IMAX screen, and like both times I was like, I was waiting for this. Yeah. The second time.
Trainwreck was a little long and unwieldy. I just felt like.
Well, I mean, that's most Apatow films.
Yeah, but I just feel it doesn't quite work here, right? Like I liked it, I still really liked it, but it's a little off here. And then Furious 7 it suffered from having to compensate for the death of one of its leads, and it's still really good, but it's just not as good following Fast 5 and Fast 6, which are just action masterpieces.
Yeah, I really liked what James Wan brought to it. I knew that going into this, he had talked about how what he wanted to bring into it was suspense that was kind of not there in previous films, and he brought that from his decade in working in strictly horror films that he kind of built, and it was there. It was more evident. I saw less of James Wan than I wanted to in it. There was it worked for a lot of things, but then it kind of didn't work for some parts.
I mean, other than the set pieces, I don't really remember much of that movie. Oh, and the final goodbye to Paul, which is probably the best part of that movie.
It was perfect goodbye.
Yeah, it was great.
I have it kind of high on my list, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not on mine, but.
I meant because I'm not sure which list you're looking at, but I actually brought up like my ranking list, so I'm like looking at all of them.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't. On my Letterboxd, it's let me see. Out of the 27 films in my Letterboxd list for 2015, it's number 18, which is fairly low, but I still really like it. It's above Cop Car.
I haven't added Cop Car yet, so but out of 36 for mine, I have it at 13.
13. Nice. Damn. What's my 13? Avengers. I liked Avengers more than Furious 7.
Do you want to know my Avengers number?
Yeah.
22.
22. Damn. That's low. That's where my Lost River is. I know you didn't like Lost River.
I did, but it's still 31.
Oh, God. But then anyway, we have the bad movies, and these are the movies I didn't like. I should say, not bad movies in themselves.
Some might be bad.
Yeah. Southpaw, I felt like was an exercise in empty flash. It looks good, but there's nothing going on under the surface. And it disappeared from my brain the second I left the theater, which could probably prove by just listening to our episode on that.
I saw part of it the other day.
Southpaw?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I be honest, in the middle of it, I kind of was like, what is this? I completely forgot what it was, and I was like, what movie is Jake Gyllenhaal in right now? And then I was like, oh right, Southpaw.
Oh, yeah,
so,
exactly. It's such a vapor film.
Southpaw's not on the bottom of my list. It's right before it.
Oh, okay. There you go. I felt like Straight Outta Compton was a Cliff Notes slog of the band's history. Did not like it. I know you did, but whatever. I'm more important here. The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which we never talked about, but I ended up watching anyways. It's okay. It's a pleasant experience, but it's never more than that. And so, it's another one of those movies I'll forget and never watch again.
I feel like how you said before, I think you said with Spy where there was no flash to it, and then from what I've heard about Man from U.N.C.L.E., it was like all flash.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I didn't feel it was that flashy.
You didn't feel like it was too stylistic?
No, I wanted more style.
I heard it was too stylistic. I haven't seen it. I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. No, I kind of felt like I wanted more. Well, it definitely needs more conflict because the main guy, Henry Cavill's character, just has it way too he's way too on the ball.
Yeah.
And there's never any conflict.
I'd heard that this is like the best Cavill has been.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, he's still kind of forgettable, but
then
he just has an affectation that you remember.
I still remember how I think the day or two before you saw it, you messaged me and was like, "Oh, so Man from U.N.C.L.E. is apparently pretty good." And then you saw it, and I saw your review for it, and you didn't like it.
Yeah,
clearly.
Well, I mean, it's weird because with the liking system on Letterboxd, I mean, I like it, but I don't like it. You know what I mean? So not enough to give it a thumbs up to say you should go watch this, but enough that I didn't walk out of the theater and be like, oh, I wasted $10.
I had the exact same response kind of with Fan Four Stick, because that's what I'm calling it. Fan Four Stick.
Oh, Fan Four Stick. What the fuck of a movie is that?
Was that part of because I felt like the first 2/3 of it was kind of was good enough.
Interesting, yeah.
That I wanted to press to say that it's not as bad.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I was like, nah, I'm not. It's not.
Because you still have to watch the last bit of it.
You still have to watch the last bit. If you can watch the first 2 parts of it and then walk away and then be like, once it hit 1 year later, it's a giant question mark and you don't know. You're not supposed.
Walk out of the theater.
You're not supposed to know what happens after that, and you're just always left to wonder what's next. The movie's so much better.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it could still. It's still not good.
It's not good, but it's way better than it could have been.
See what else? So Fantastic Four I have is a well-documented failure. Jurassic World is a hateful example of the worst kind of blockbuster filmmaking. It's just absolute commerce in every way. Even though, the most frustrating part about it is that it seems to know what it is, and then it just is that anyways, which is infuriating. But then if you talk about the smaller movies, they fared a little better, but I still felt like they kind of got outweighed by they're not so good. Like Tangerine is one of the greatest movies probably of the decade so far, and Ex Machina is, you can agree with me, is fantastic. And The Gift and Amy. I don't know. You didn't see Amy. I didn't see Amy. Amy is a really good documentary. You should check it out. And I've been wanting to buy Back to Black because that album is so good, and seeing her create at least the parts where she's creating, and seeing how deeply they tie into her real life was like heartbreaking. And then The Gift, I mentioned this, it's just, I can't even talk about it. It's, go watch it. I want to talk about it with people who've seen it because it's so twisty and turny, and
we saw
good dark fun.
We saw Spring, and
was that summer?
No, but I'm talking about, what was that? Well, it came out the same day as Mad Max.
Did it? Oh,
well,
yeah, because people were like, or I mean, the directors were like, who's here instead of watching Mad Max? And we put up our hands and we're like, yeah.
I especially did, because I was like missing out. I missed out on the other showing.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I have Spring like one above The Gift, and I don't know, something, but I guess that's kind of like my love for like the Before trilogy that kind of clued into it.
You have a thing for romances.
Yeah, and it just like kind of clicked in for me, and it was like it was an interesting original idea that I haven't really seen.
No, it was really good. Had I realized that it came out the same day as Mad Max, I would have talked about it. But yes, I totally forgot about that.
I also saw Bang Bang Baby.
Oh yeah, you told me about this yesterday.
I think I saw it last Friday, and it's a really small film. I believe it's a Canadian release, and it was an interesting and weird movie. I really liked it, but I can definitely see why somebody wouldn't like it. It
like your mom,
like my mom. We went to go see it in a small theater. We were the only two people in it. The movie ended, and she kind of laughed, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't like that." But it's a musical based in 1963 in a small town called Lonely Arms. I believe it's supposed to that town's supposed to be in Ontario, and it's a musical. I don't think I mentioned that, but it's a big musical, but the film kind of has like this aesthetic that also goes back to the classic Hollywood sort of days. So it's like painted walls, little crappy green screen work. But to me, I think
in all fairness, might not actually be intentional.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure it was like budget reasons. But for me,
it still works.
It added to the aesthetic of it, so I kind of liked it a bit more.
And that's the thing. If it works, it works, and that's all that matters.
There was when you see bad green screen stuff, you can there's like, I don't know if you notice it, but in Kingsman, there's a few stuff where you're like, you're not really in the room.
Oh yeah.
That's bad, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes there was actual like leftover green around like the heads.
Oh, and Bang Bang
Baby. And I was like, that one I'm way more iffy about. But I was like, whatever, you know. This is a first time director. I don't know about the editor, so
yeah. Jeez, literal green.
And there's a gas leak, and there are mutants, and that.
How do you forget to mention that? The fucking mutants.
Yeah, it totally changed. Like,
make it sound like Hairspray.
I was like, yeah, this movie's like kind of reasonable. It's normal, and then there's mutants, and then it goes into this other thing because it's also about illusions and like her dealing with things that might have happened. That it, in a way, it reminded me of Sucker Punch.
I've never seen it. I want to though.
The way I saw Sucker Punch was like, it would have. They would go to these other places so they wouldn't have to face the reality that they were dealing with. Yeah. And like that's what it made me think of.
Okay. Also, While We're Young, which is a movie I enjoyed watching, but because of what it's saying, I can't get into it because that movie just doesn't like who I am as a person.
I think it's for me it's pretty low, but I don't know why it's that low. I don't remember. This is why I need to like revisit movies sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you should always revisit a movie if you can, because if it's a good movie, it'll unveil new truths to you. If it's a bad movie, it'll just be exact same bullshit. But with While We're Young, I can admit it's a good movie because Noah Baumbach is a great filmmaker, and he will put out a good movie no matter what. But with this movie, he's kind of saying he really just doesn't like millennials, it sounds like, in this movie. And from what I hear about Mistress America, he kind of course corrects there.
Yeah.
But this movie, for whatever reason, just comes off as hateful, and I can't get into that.
I actually didn't even realize until now that's like when the movie came out. Like I just had to go check it.
Oh yeah.
That I find because I think it's really. I don't think I would have expected knowing that we would have 2 Noah Baumbach films in the same summer.
Exactly.
Like I can understand like some people being like, "Oh, who was it? David Ayer last year who put out like Sabotage in February and then Fury in like around November." And I was like, "That sounds about right." But no, in the same summer,
Yeah.
where both of them were both doing like the festival run at around the same time.
That's good. Yeah.
He's probably on work on 3 other movies right now. You heard it here
It's
first.
he's harkening back to the fucking 40s, and he can put out 2 movies a year.
It's insane. I look at like some like people's like IMDb like filmography, and it's like 40, 40, 40, 41, 41, 42, 42, and I was just like, how?
Yeah.
How do you
How is
put
this
out?
possible?
It's like you filmed for like what, 4 days? Like what?
Yeah. How fast are you writing these things? Okay, let's get into our rankings now. You don't have to go into too much detail, but just talk about your top 5 of the summer. In whatever order you wish.
There's no real order. I don't even. It's weird because I don't have them on. I have my list on my phone, and I'm looking at the list on my computer, and they don't even match that way for some reason. But for my best, I had Mad Max, Magic Mike, Inside Out, Ex Machina, and Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Oh yeah, me and Earl. I didn't watch that, so I didn't hear good things.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I know you did. You didn't talk about it at all.
Huh?
You didn't talk about it at all during the podcast.
I did.
Did you?
It was the same day that I went to go see Jurassic World.
Oh yeah.
And I like.
Not on this episode, but in the other episode.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned it.
And your bottom 5?
Oof. Poltergeist, Tomorrowland, Fan 4 Stick, Insidious Chapter 3.
It always takes you an extra second to just be like, what?
Insidious Chapter 3 and Max.
Oh yeah, I knew it. Max.
I was looking.
I almost feel bad because I'm the one that sort of pushed you to watch that movie.
Well, I was like, I had plans with like coworkers to go watch it before, and then you're like, apparently it's really good, and I was like, I wasn't like.
I hope Movie Bob writes something about it because I want to see his reasoning and send it to you.
I wish. Let me know what you saw in it, because like the entire time I was just like, oh, holy crap. I went with people who, one of them is into movies, and she saw The Gift the first day it came out, and then like told me about how great it was, and told me about some like cinematic things, like some visuals that it did with it. The 2 scenes in the shower, I really won't spoil it, but like, yeah, she's like, she sat down, and when she saw that part, the first thing she thought of was she thought about how much I was gonna love that scene. The other person we went with isn't that much into movies, and even like she has some bad taste in movies occasionally, and
neither of them liked it.
No. Well, yeah, sorry, neither of them liked it, but even the girl who didn't really like enjoy it, doesn't enjoy movies, turned around and was just like, this movie is bad. I am sorry we have to come see this.
Oh wow. For me, I do have them ranked, and I have smaller movies on, like really smaller movies on here, but I think I already I mentioned why, just because they came out during the summer here, and so they constitute summer movies for me, even though Tangerine is technically a Christmas movie.
I did the same thing. Like most of these, I think all the ones I picked are about wide, or all had wide releases. Yeah.
So my number 5 is Tangerine. Like, I like Tangerine more than some of the movies I'm gonna mention, but because it's a smaller movie, I kind of put it lower. So I have Tangerine as number 5. Number 4 is The Gift. Number 3 is Magic Mike XXL. Number 2 is Mad Max Fury Road, and then my number 1 is Inside Out.
I thought it was Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, no. This is my top 5. Oh, yeah. Okay. I get it now. Well, my bottom 5. Number 5 is Man from U.N.C.L.E. Number 4 is Straight Outta Compton. So it's not that low, but it's low. Number 3 is Southpaw. Number 2 is Fan 4 Stick. And number 1 is Jurassic World.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah.
I was glad you went with the Fan 4 Stick, though.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. Andres, what's in your film queue for this week?
I'm trying to catch up to. I think in October, Criterion is putting out Mulholland Drive, David Lynch's film.
Yes.
So, having never really seen any of Lynch's films, I am like going through his filmography chronologically. So next up, I've got Dune.
Was that all just a preamble so that people understand why you're watching Dune?
Yeah. I mean, after Dune, I got Blue Velvet. I don't think I'd have to explain to people why I'd watch Blue Velvet.
There you go.
But and then I guess in the exact same vein, which will also be our next episode, which will be The Visit.
Oh, okay.
Which is the next M. Night Shyamalan film, and I'm going to
revisit his movies.
I'm going to revisit his movies. I apologize.
I said the pun for you.
I apologize. So next up for that one is Signs, though I think Signs is a decent, like, I don't think there's that much hate for Signs.
No.
Within the film community, I think
people think it's dumb, but, I mean, they don't think it's bad.
Well, I mean, it's not anything after Signs.
Yeah.
For what I remember, most people do not like most of the stuff after Signs.
Yeah.
So I'm going to enjoy Signs and be cautious and wary about the rest of his filmography.
Wary.
Yeah.
For me, I just have two definite movies I'm going to see. Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Because I want to go through Steven Soderbergh's filmography. I've seen a lot, but I want to go from the beginning.
Yeah, you're going to go from the beginning when you're in the middle of it all.
Yeah. That's what the guy said, too, when I bought Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
That's why I brought it up.
And Looper. I'm going to revisit Looper, because I got the Mondo Steelbook.
I have that, too, and I've been, like, wanting to revisit it, too.
Popped it back in. Oh, I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater, so I'm excited. Oh my god, it's 3 years ago.
I mean, if you look at how many movies I have right now, it doesn't work the same. But back to before, I used to like buy way too much movies at a time. I usually would like see the movie in theater, and then as soon as I pick it up, I would watch it within that same week.
Yeah.
Like the logical thing to do. But who needs logic? So last time I saw Looper was back when it came out on Blu-ray, and I picked it up then. Before, so I have like the regular Blu-ray, and then I also have the Mondo.
Steelbook. Nice. You should just gift the regular one to somebody.
I should.
Someone who enjoys time travel movies. Actually, because I'm going to Chile, I could just mention all the DVDs I'm watching.
Go for it.
All right. Let's see if I can name them off on the top of my head.
Well, are you going alphabetical, or are you just gonna throw shit out?
I think alphabetical helps me because I did it this morning. Yeah, I just organized them. A Day at the Races. A Night at the Opera, A Night in Casablanca. These are all Marx Brothers movies, by the way.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I was like, I don't know any of these.
I think it's called Go West or In the West or something like that.
Yep.
Oh fuck! There's 3 that I'm forgetting. It's a Room Service, I think, is one of them. 2 more. I won't remember them. Stalker. Tarkovsky. I'm just gonna start rattling them off as they pop into my brain.
Well, shit.
Dogville, Wild Zero,
Primer,
Wonder Boys. Oh fuck, shit. Lake of Fire, and McCabe, Mrs. Miller. Fuck, there's an M. There's another M.
Did you see Margaret? Or you saw Margaret?
Yeah, I saw Margaret. It's so good. Watch Margaret. I want to watch the extended cut though. It's a 3-hour cut. Fuck it. But yeah, I'm watching a lot of movies while I'm in Chile. I'm taking a bunch of DVDs with me because at nighttime we're gonna have nothing to do, right? Everyone's gonna go to bed early, so I'll just pop on a movie on my laptop.
So you might want to explain that a little more.
Oh yeah. So I'm on vacation for the next 2 weeks. So this is my last episode for a while.
Well, when do you go?
I leave on September 6th.
Okay. Well, either way, September 4th will be like the next week. There's nothing coming out, so we're taking a break. I'll be back for the weekend around September 11. Yeah.
Tragic weekend.
We're watching The Visit.
Tragic indeed.
I will be here with a lot of people.
A lot of guests to make up for me.
Yeah. Thomas and Will, who were on
returning guests,
who Will fired some shots at Thomas, so I think they might get back at each other during this episode.
Oh, shit.
Also, my friend Tyler would be joining, so it'll be the 4 of us discussing M. Night Shyamalan and The Visit. But at the same time, during that week, TIFF will be running here, and it's going to be...
Which sucks. I'm missing a third straight year of TIFF.
Yeah, it's going to be chaotic because I have to work, I have to record, and I'll be trying to watch as many movies as I can. So if I can find time, it might be a bit late, but around the weekend of the 18th or after the 20th, once the festival is done, I'll probably record an episode. Everest comes out that week, so maybe I'll watch that.
Find a guest.
Yeah, and talk about like briefly about what TIFF films I saw. Yeah. Cool. I won't get into spoilers for those because I don't even know when those will be coming out. Because last year I saw 99 Homes, and that doesn't come out until the end of September this year.
Oh yeah. Damn.
So yeah.
Cool. So
then you'll be back after that to watch Legally Blonder.
Oh god. That's my return episode, Legally Blonde?
Yeah.
Oh god. We'll get more into that. I'll just fill you in on that on the week I'm gone.
Yeah,
the week before.
We'll just I just want to like pitch the rest of September.
Yeah.
Throw it all out there. Because I have
to come back from Chile, find a copy of Legally Blonde and watch it. And Legally Blonder.
We don't know what the actual sequel's called, but we're just calling it Legally Blonder because it sounds like the perfect title.
It sounds legit.
Maybe we should. I'm gonna Google this.
I'm not. I'm gonna keep the illusion.
Legally Blonde 2, red, white, and blonde.
I think Legally Blonder is a far superior title.
Charles Herman Wormfeld, the director, made the bad choice with the title. Should have been Legally Blonder.
Yes, totally. Other than that, I might go to the theater to watch A Walk in the Woods this week. Maybe only because I love the book. Okay. The book is one of the funniest books I've ever read. But watching the trailer, which I don't usually do, but because I read the book, I wanted to. I was curious. It doesn't seem like it's the same type of thing. They kind of changed
Who's in that again?
Robert Redford and Nick Nolte.
And you said that was a funny book?
Yeah. It's hilarious. Which is why
Nick Nolte can, like, I guess, pull. I don't see that movie being funny.
The trailer doesn't look funny. I mean,
it's proven wrong.
It looks lame funny, like funny for old people. But I don't know. I'm a little disappointed because when I read the book, I'm like, I would love to make a movie about this, and I could make it hilarious, blah 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 blah, and then they fuck it up. Anyway, where can we find you, Andres?
Not Facebook.
Jesus, you forgot?
I forgot.
You have the easiest thing in the world.
I forgot where I was gonna go. Twitter, Instagram, and on Letterboxd, it's all at Pocket Writer. You can also now find me at unrealflix.com.
Oh yeah, that's why you hesitated.
Yeah. That's Unreal with REEL.
Yeah, real as in film reel.
I have one article up there right now. I'm going to be doing some reviews.
How do you watch movies?
Yeah, I know it sounds a little pretentious, but I don't think it's that bad.
No, I read it this morning, and it was... Yeah, you make it more about...
it's about like how to try and experience and how to get the best out of that sort of feeling.
It's less about like telling you how to watch a movie as opposed to respecting movies for
what mindset would you have going into it?
Yeah.
It's kind of stemmed off of my really, really, really shitty experience watching Insidious Chapter 3.
You didn't mention that.
I didn't. I went to go watch it, and people were talking, yelling, walking around as they please all throughout the entire movie, and I was just
never go pissed. On a Tuesday. Tuesday is what, half off day?
And you know
that's
what the worst
people
part is?
Who don't give a shit about movies.
You're in Cineplex from Monday to Friday this week. It's all half off.
I'm not going to Cineplex this week. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Jeff_Ped, on Instagram as Jeffrey_Pedernera, and at Letterboxd as Jeff Ped.
Wait, do you have that written on your notes now?
Yes.
Oh my god.
And I'm gonna copy and paste that shit into every single episode note.
Good.
Yeah. So until next week, consider the question: good summer, bad summer. See you, fuck faces.